Today on DNVR Buffs Live, we're talking breakout candidates. We're going to do a draft. And what is a breakout candidate? Lots of news and notes, the 2026 recruit to watch out for. And guess what, Scott? The anti-fun, anti-court storming / field storming police are back. Let's talk about it.
Squad!
Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your front range Toyota Store, Toyota official vehicle of DNVR. Wednesday, DNVR Buffs Live, two-man game, Scotty Pockets.
We in here, man. Let's get it. How you feeling, bro?
Let's go. I mean, I'd feel better if it wasn't, terrible outside.
Winter wonderland outside.
It's single degrees, like temperature. There's snow everywhere. And
I don't like it, bro.
No.
But good thing, bro, living in Denver, bro, it ain't too many of these. I'm not going to lie. It's not too many of these throughout the year.
So it's worse in Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Like, yes, 100 times. What? And what y'all talking about worse? In terms of, like, snow and cold? Hell yeah, it's worse in Chicago. Like, 150 times worse. Why are y'all so confused? Why are y'all so perplexed by that answer?
I've never been there. I don't know.
Why y'all think Chicago is called the Windy City, G? That lake effect, you feel me? That cold is nothing to play with.
Snowy city.
But the snow and the cold is much. I know some Chicago folks up in here. Y'all let these people know, man.
Chat, let us know. What's up, chat? How we all doing? Big Teasy in the house.
Big Teasy.
As always, Kamada.
Well, I feel like Teasy
Shay
trolling. I don't believe him. Talk about get rid of that shit.
What?
Talk about he's anti-field and court storming. I
Man,
don't believe
please. We'll get to that. Let the kids have fun.
Girls Club with a new profile pic. I see you.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Okay.
Is that the Kendrick Lamar set from
It does
Super
kind of
Bowl?
look like it.
That's what's up. Yeah, Scotty's rocking the Negro Leagues jacket. That's I don't know, a souvenir almost from the Stampede this year.
Yeah, bro. I almost don't even want to wear it too often. I think this is probably the first time I've worn it since I bought it in KC.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely something.
It goes crazy.
At one point in time, I'm just gonna have to like frame and just have up, So yeah.
All right. Today on the show, yes, the field, the anti-fun police are back. We'll get into that. Some Shrine Bowl analytics, another historic Shedeur Sanders stat. 2026 recruit to watch out for, but we're going to start today talking about breakout players, and we're going to do a draft, but usually we just like jump into drafts,
With disclaimer, a little note beforehand to let people know what we're talking about first.
But we're going to have a conversation before, because we've done this before, breakout candidates, drafting them and all that stuff, but what is a breakout candidate? What does it mean to be that? Because there's different levels to breaking out, right? Like you can argue that, LeJontay had a breakout season this year. You know what I mean? Just because he was doing it at a power forward level,
right?
At Colorado, statistically it wasn't as good as his previous years, but he was on the national radar a lot more because of that, right? Cam Michael, like that's a true breakout, I think, right? He hasn't done much yet because of injury. Like anything you get from him almost is a bonus at this point, but he can actually break out and become an impact player. So
yeah, I think it's all relative, right? And it's all depends on the person, the player you're talking about, because like you said, in LeJontay's case, I would categorize his 2024 season at Colorado a breakout, but he was already one, I think, top 10, top 20, but FBS
it was like,
all time.
It was like if you knew,
yards.
you knew, though.
Exactly. And that's why I say it's relative. So like there are guys who nobody, even Colorado fans, have yet to see, them be productive on the college level. That would be a breakout. Somebody who just proves that they can belong and play at this college level. And there's levels to where, we Colorado fans know them, but maybe the college football world doesn't necessarily know them. So there's levels for sure. And, we'll kind of get into it and we'll kind of make it clear what a breakout means for each person, each player in particular. But I think that's kind of the gist of it, where you go from maybe people not knowing who you are, knowing your name and your game and what you're about, to a lot of people, the whole college football world, kind of at least knowing your name and what you're about.
So like Cam Michael, my Master Stick works already in there saying his name. He's someone that Buff Nation knows a lot about. We talked a lot about him in his recruitment. We were very excited about what he was doing in spring football. The speed numbers recently and all that. Like, he's a well-known name,
right?
But nationally, like, he's someone who could take like the CFB world by storm if he goes out and has a great season. Like, there's varying degrees of breakout. Like Michael Welsh, that's a massive breakout candidate for the Buffs. We saw what he was capable of already, though.
100%.
It's just, if he does that with more production, more of a workload out of the backfield, it's obvious he could be like a true national, best back in the Big 12 type of breakout player.
For sure. I mean? Even Omarion Miller. Like,
absolutely.
We've seen flashes, but he's yet to break out on a consistent level where he's on NFL draft boards, where he's being talked about as one of the best receivers in college football. Omarion Miller is known very much so in Buff Nation, amongst Colorado football fans. But I think he's yet to break out to the level where he's being talked about as one of the best receivers in college football. And I think that's definitely something that could happen here in 2025. Same with Draylon. People know who he is. He made some noise, especially he opened some eyes in that Utah game where he deballed the whole Utah secondary. But a breakout is still potentially on the horizon if he can put together a full season of consistent playmaking.
Right, and like Cameron right there, he's got the whole running back room listed. Like, I think all those guys are eligible for breakout candidates, even though we saw a lot of them work it on the field. Like DJ McKinney.
Yes.
Someone who made a lot of plays this year.
Yes.
Someone who, if you are a college football junkie and you just consume, like you watch as many games as possible, of course you're tuned into Colorado, you're going to know who DJ McKinney is.
No doubt.
But like potential, like if you're already looking ahead to the 2026 NFL draft, you may not realize that he's someone who can enter that conversation potentially like a day 2, even first round, as Coach Prime put on him this time last year.
Facts. Shout out to my pops there. He reported live from Chicago. He telling pops say hello from this side. 6 inches of snow with -2 wind chill the next 2 days.
Ooh.
No school till Tuesday.
Yeesh.
Yeah, it's the Windy City for real. We don't play out. That's why it's low key a relief. Like when I'm out here, like it don't never really get too cold. It'll be 1 or 2 days like today. You feel me? Out of a month or two. But even like my first winter in Denver this past winter, like I think I remember 2-3 frigid days.
Yeah. No, last year was actually kind of mild.
Yeah. Right.
I've been gone so much this year, I can't even keep track of what winter's actually been like. But
damn, all right, bro. You ain't got to flex on us like that, boy. So I'm just
city
to city.
It's for work. It's for work. Just saying. All right, we ready to kick off the draft then?
Let's get it.
Who's picking first?
Rock, paper, scissors.
You want to pick a number? Play the odds game.
Let's do one of the odds. Well, actually, it doesn't work like that.
Well, okay, Alyssa, pick a number between 1 and 25.
Say the number
at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. Ready?
3.
1.
You can count.
1, 2, 3. 11. Bruh.
All right, goes in half.
No. No, last one it was 13.
All right, think of a number 1 to 12 right now. Yeah. Countdown.
1, 2, 3. 11.
12.
Hell yeah, I'm going first.
All right, good.
It's got to be Michael Welsh, in my opinion.
I like it.
We just listed a lot of guys who, potentially the biggest one, but in terms of what it means for this team to truly succeed this year, in terms of, moving on from Travis and Shedeur and finding an identity post them, it's finding this running game, and it's having a guy who can lead the backfield and can, potentially reach 1,000+ yards, who can get you 2 yards in a short yardage situation where you're on the goal line and a touchdown is almost automatic.
Yeah.
If Michael Welsh can truly break out, become one of, if not the best backs in the Big 12, Colorado will win a lot of football games, and they will most definitely be in Big 12 contention this year.
Yeah, man, that's a hell of a first-round pick. I'm not gonna lie. You and I feel the same about Michael Welch. We feel that he could potentially end up being the number one back on this team, by a wide margin. He has all the talent in the world. He's still a young guy. He can really do everything you want. He can catch a ball in the backfield. I think he needs to improve in pass protection, but that's to be expected for a young guy. He can just run the hell out of football. He's so hard to tackle, and particularly short yardage red zone. Like when he got the ball in close this year, and it seemed like early on they gave him that role. Like, you're our goal line back. And he made them look like a smart bunch. So I'm excited for Michael's future for sure. And I think he's in for a big 2025 season. I think he's going to prove to be one of the best backs in the Big 12 this year.
I hope so. And then, with the Marshall Faulk aspect, what we talked about on Monday, he only caught, like 8 or 9 passes this last year?
Yep.
If he can get that to 35 or 40,
that'd be crazy, bro.
Even that's a big jump.
100%.
That is, he becomes a very versatile back.
Yeah.
He's got the size, obviously, to do that goal line stuff, but he would just be him breaking out would make the season.
100%. I think this guy has to break out for Colorado in 2025 for this season to go how we think it could go. And that's on the other side of the ball. It's at the second level. It's Martavius French. I think he has to break out. And again, he's done it at UTSA. He's done it over the last couple of years. And obviously we're talking about a transfer here, but this is a step up in competition for him. But he's going to have a Nakai Hill-Green type impact on this defense.
Yes.
And that's a lot to put on that young man because Nakai obviously balled out last year. He's probably going to ball out again this year at Alabama. But Nakai, when he was inserted into the lineup pretty much after the Nebraska game here in 2024, that defense took off to another level. His leadership, his ability to fly downhill, make plays at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage. I think that's also a skill set that Martavius French has shown that he has. 17 tackles for loss in 2024 from the inside linebacker spot. That led all inside linebackers in college football. So if Martavius can kind of dominate that second level of the defense, get everybody in the front end, in the back end, in the right spot on every single play, and make plays, again, at the line of scrimmage at the second level, this defense, because we talk about it, I think the defensive line is going to be elite.
Yeah.
The secondary is going to be really damn good. If they can just get one guy, maybe this guy ends up being Reggie Hughes as well.
Yeah.
And if they get both of them to ball out, then this defense is going to be amazing. But I think Martavius French has to be the guy that I think this coaching staff thinks he is going to be. And if he is, this defense is going to be elite.
You just laid it out perfectly there. When you have the defensive line that Colorado has that, led the conference in sacks, that has the potential that we see going into 2025, and this secondary, there are some questions on both the line and the secondary to answer. But if that second level is not sound, if it's not at least approaching above average, it doesn't matter really. You're going to get exposed, as we saw when Nakai was out in the Alamo Bowl and in the first 2 weeks when he wasn't in the lineup.
100%.
We're going to snake it. So you got another pick, bro.
Okay, bet. Say less. I'm going to stay on the defensive side of the ball.
Wow.
I'm going to go with Colton Hood, bro.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Colton Hood. Spending most of this past season is pretty much CB4 behind Travis and DJ and Preston Hodge. Colton is going to be a top 3 corner on this team. I think he's going to be one of the best corners in the Big 12, potentially in all college football. When he got his first real opportunity to see kind of like starting reps in 2024 was against Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. And he clamped up T-Mac. Had that boy in jail the whole game, had a pick. His pick against Kansas State was one of the most exciting plays, I believe, of the whole season. His ability not only to lock dudes down, make plays on the football, but also be an impact player in the return game. I think Colton Hood is going to break out and really be on NFL draft radars this time next year.
One of the biggest obstacles this team has going into 2025 is replacing Travis.
Right.
And we've already heard it. You don't replace Travis with one person. You replace him with multiple people. Colton Hood has to be one of those guys.
No
because
doubt.
You know what you have in DJ. You know what you have in Preston. If Colton can elevate and, consistently play at that level we saw, against Arizona and we did in the middle of the season all year long, it's really going to solidify the secondary, and they're going to be just as good as last year. Maybe not top end as good, but they'll be in that neighborhood.
No doubt.
You left me with tons of options there.
Sure did.
I'll make my next pick on the other side of this break.
Say less.
Shout out to the homies over at Bet365. We're in future season. If you're feeling bold about who's going to win the national title in 2025, if you're feeling bold about Colorado's over under win total, that's already out there on Bet365, 6.5. Big 12 odds are up there, all that good stuff. Hit up our friends over at Bet365. Of course, we're still right in the middle of Avs and Nuggets season. So get in now. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use the code DNVR365, deposit $10, then place a bet of $5 to get $150 in bonus bets when your bet wins or loses. Again, you can use these bets on absolutely anything on the app, man. Spreads, totals, player props, futures, SGPs, whatever your heart desires, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Shout out to the homies over at Elevations Credit Union, who I've heard through the grapevine have one pretty sexy credit card, Jay.
The streets are saying.
The streets are talking.
Yeah.
And the streets are usually, they know what they're talking about.
Especially when it comes to credit cards.
Especially when it comes to Elevations Credit Union.
Absolutely.
Which like I said, is the sexiest credit card I've ever seen with my own two eyes.
Also, just go to a credit union. They're going to take care of you and treat you like an actual person.
100%. I mean, they looked out for you. A credit union looked out for you.
Yes.
Looked out for sure. I mean,
I've been a credit union guy for life, honestly.
You really have, bro. You're a true OG, no doubt. No doubt about it. Go Buffs with the Go Buffs Visa signature rewards card, though. The only one, y'all. The only official credit card of CU Athletics. You can only find it at Elevations Credit Union. Visit buffscreditcard.com to apply and see full card benefits and details. Shout out to Elevations Credit Union and go get that Go Buffs with the Go Buffs Visa signature rewards card.
Look at that thing. Beautiful.
Beauty.
All right, bro. I got to do it. I mean, you just left him sitting there. I figured you were going to take him with your first pick. I got to take Omari Miller.
Do it, bro.
I mean, someone I think that is there any player the fan base is more excited about this year than Omari Miller?
No, and he's giving him good reason too, bro, because he's looking like a problem, bro.
He is.
He's looking like he's transforming his body too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. The hype is warranted for Big O.
I mean, we've already seen the potential, obviously, the USC game, the K-State game last year. Can you just imagine 12 games of that? I mean, the guy just dominates in multiple ways. He's got gliding speed. He's able to, make contested catches.
Yeah.
He's got the size. He's a slick route runner as well. If Omari Miller breaks out, he could potentially top Travis's numbers from last year as Colorado's leading receiver. Truly breaks out.
Wow.
He could top Travis's numbers. He will be an NFL draft conversation. He might be gone after this season if he plays well enough and reaches that full potential.
Oh, no doubt.
So Omari Miller is truly one of the X factors for breaking out for this team.
Yeah, man. That's a hell of an answer because I think he's in for a huge season. I feel like he's going to end up on a lot of people's draft boards next year, like a guy that is just that sexy pick. I've seen him do so many amazing things on the football field. I want him on my NFL team. I think that's in O's future for sure. And again, it seems like he's putting in the work and taking this offseason serious because he knows what's ahead of him. And it makes you think about what Sapp kind of told us, if you do what you do here at Colorado with this coaching staff and this stage that you have being on national television pretty much every day, if you lock in and you have one good season, like Omo is pretty much capable of, Marion is capable of here coming up, you can be set for life.
Yep.
With NIL and everything, obviously NFL ahead of you, it's all in front of you and O is included in that. It's up. You're up again, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's up?
My next pick, I'm going to go defense. I already got two strong offensive picks here. I got to go Tajay McCoy.
Love it.
Because we've heard so much about, wait till Tajay, wait till it's his time. There's some guys in front of him right now, but what we've seen at practice, what we saw with our own two eyes at the public practice last year, where he had 4 sacks.
Yeah.
He comes into the games and he has these spurts where he kind of takes over a bit. I believe it was the Arizona game where he had a nice little stretch. If he just can do that, obviously, over a full season, and they need pass rushers to step up. You have other guys, I could have picked Samuel Okunlola, I could have picked Arden Walker.
Yeah.
But with Tajay McCoy, it's the blend of the speed, his bend, and just ability to get around that corner and just make it a hard time for these tackles to, work in a phone booth. If Tajay McCoy emerges and becomes the Buffs' best pass rusher, they will lead the Big 12 in sacks again, and it'll be a decent margin again.
It's so possible, bro. And again, I just think about how explosive he was just on kickoff, dog.
Exactly.
Taking folks' head off on kickoff. You give him a full head of steam. You give him a running start. It's going to be issues for that ball carrier, potentially for that quarterback when he's in a pass rush. So I love the Tajay McCoy pick. There's just so much talent on the defensive line, and I think that's why it's the most talented position on this team right now. I got into defensive guys, so let me get some offensive firepower here. I'm gonna go with the other Miller. I'm gonna go with Draylon, man, baby Debo. I think Draylen's in for a huge season. Again, I also love what I'm seeing out of him just from the well-off, the Reach the People media videos of him just kind of seemingly taking on the leadership role.
And that's what Darius told us at the Super Bowl. He said Dre is stepping up big time.
We'd love to see that. We love to see that because dude can play, and it was so valuable the time on the field that he got as a true freshman with Shedeur Sanders. And it seemed like from day one, from game one, from rep one, play one against NDSU, he was involved. And it seemed like throughout the season, although he wasn't always involved, it seemed like there was consistently an effort to kind of make sure that he felt involved, whether that be handing him the ball, throwing him the ball. And he made plays more times than not when his number was called. So I think with additional opportunities, he's going to ball out and be on a lot of NFL teams' radars again next season. And also, too, we talked about it yesterday. We talked about the running back potentially that Marshall Faulk will impact the most.
Yes.
I think the player that Marshall Faulk will impact the most on this team is Draylon Miller because he has the running back ability. He has, obviously, the natural pass-catching chops. So I feel like Marshall Faulk might see Draylon Miller as his kind of muse, as the guy that he wants to, kind of, I don't know what to say, but, kind of devise this thing around offensively and kind of be a Swiss Army knife, a Joker type role. I can see Draylon kind of being brought under Marshall Faulk's wing in that regard.
And you've already just seen it in spurts, too. I mean, he got the first play of the season against NDSU. He had one of the nastiest jukes of the season in that game in NDSU.
Yes, he did, bro.
Like, he can work in a phone booth. He's got the size, too, to kind of, like, bowl through players. I mean, he really is Debo Samuel-like in that way. So if he's able to, just catch a couple swings out of the backfield, maybe a couple screens, too, even, like, take a pitch from Caden Salter or a handoff, for that matter, like, that expands this offense greatly, and it gives them another aspect that you have to defend, and it just gets Draylon more work.
100%. I'm going to stay on offense, and I'm going to go with the fastest player on the team. I'm going to go with Cam Michael.
Great pick.
Speed kills. And again, it seems like his confidence is rising this offseason because he's going to talk his mess. He's going to show his teammates now that he's fully healthy what he's really capable of. And he's also looking a little bit bulkier too. So a full offseason, a full spring, a full fall camp, with full health, I think he's going to hit the ground running this fall and be a real weapon, whether that be in the return game, whether that be in the run game, catching passes. I think Cam Michael is going to be a real weapon. And again, we didn't see pretty much anything from him his freshman year because of injury. It seemed like he got his feet under him ahead of the bowl game. But again, a full offseason of that young man getting work in, getting trust reps with whoever's going to be under center. I think Cam Michael's going to be a problem here in 2025.
He's in like this weird position where like he came in 4-star recruit, highly touted, top 100 player. Like we knew how fast he was, how versatile he was. We had Dukes on before the 2024 season this last year. And I remember asking him, because we didn't know where Cam was going to start off or where he was going to play. And I asked Dukes. And he goes, wherever he wants to play.
For real.
And so it's like he's got these expectations, but it's almost whatever you get out of him this year is like a bonus because you didn't have that last year.
No doubt.
And it obviously worked pretty well. The secondary, the wide receivers, the running game was what it was. But whatever you get out of Cam this year is not just a bonus, but it's like potentially impact player bonus, if that makes it like a super bonus. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
He can be a guy that you scheme around, that you not only have a package 5 to 10 plays for, like he can become Dylan Edwards-esque in that if you want to get him in the screen game, kind of get him in a Draylon type of role, that's another way to greatly expand your offense. Southside D, no freshman on this list. Yeah, I mean, can a freshman truly break out? Like, they can, but like in terms of breakout players, it's like we've seen them.
Right.
Here's who can take the leap moving forward, type of thing, right?
Yeah, I think we are excluding freshmen from this list just from, again, like how you just said it. The breakout, excuse me, the breakout perspective is we know who this player is. We've seen them maybe take a back seat or just be a young guy. And this is somebody who, again, maybe we expect to take that next step. But yeah, so freshmen we're not necessarily including on this list.
All right. Damn. My next guy. I want to pick an offensive lineman. I just don't know which one to pick. In terms of transfers, I mean, I could go like Phillip Houston or something.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stay on defense, though. And I think I'm going to take your guy, bro.
Don't do it, bro.
I'm going to take Amari McNeil.
That's my dog right there.
For this defense to maintain this level that we saw last year, someone's got to replace Chidozie, right?
Yeah.
What the block bully did, kind of manning the middle, taking on double teams, just being a fire hydrant that you could scheme around him, right? Defensively. I mean, if you have him taking up two guys, it just frees up everyone. Someone's going to need to command double teams this year, whether it's Big Anquin Barnes, whether it's one of the freshmen. But Amari McNeil, we've seen it the last 2 seasons. We've seen that he's had these flashes of taking over, honestly.
100%.
If he can take his game to the next level, truly break out, and become a player that you have to game plan for, like when teams are coming to Folsom Field or when Colorado's coming to play them, if Amari McNeil is a player that they circle as we gotta take care of this guy, that means Colorado is causing some havoc defensively.
No doubt about it, bro. Yeah, I mean, I throw Jaheim Otis in that potentially that role, but
sure.
Ever since that Texas Tech game, Amari McNeil's just been different, bro. And I feel like he's in for a huge 2025 season. I feel like something clicked in him in that game, confidence-wise, where he realized that he's really him and he can really be dominant if he puts his mind to it fully. I think he had an injury to end this season, so he'll be coming back strong, hopefully here this spring and into the fall. I think Amari McNeil has all conference potential, NFL potential for sure.
It's me again, huh?
It's you, man. Who you got?
Good Fruit brings up Arden Walker. I was between him and Tajay at that point. Feel like I have to go offensive line, bro. I'm gonna pick Aki Ogunbiyi.
Okay, I like that.
For right tackle.
Yeah,
because you have someone in Jordan Seaton who is a future first-round pick. Top 10 pick, potentially. Yes. And you saw the impact of him. Jordan was great last year as a true freshman. We expect him to get better for sure. But at some point, you got to have someone on the other side. You just have to. And I'm going to kind of call a shot here and go Aki Ogunbiyi to start at right tackle to be a true breakout player. Someone who hasn't played too much or started too much at Texas A&M.
Yep.
Come into Colorado, man down that right tackle spot. And let's bowl some people over. Let's truly get this run game going. Let's cut down significantly on the sacks, and let's just be a powerful offense, down in, down out. Let's not just powerful, but efficient too. And I think you get that when you have a better offensive line.
I can see that, bro. He's experienced, bro. He's played in 20+ games for Texas A&M over the last few years. In the SEC, obviously, I can see that for sure. I think Phillip Houston is going to give Aki or whoever else some real run at that right tackle spot, but if Aki ends up finding any starting spot on the offensive line, that'll be because he earned it, and that would be huge for this offensive line. And I think that's a hell of a pick. That's a sleeper pick too. That probably not a lot of people would be picking. But Aki, him, the Chrysler as well.
Yep,
I would throw him potentially in that conversation.
Shoot,
I think you need one or two of these offensive line guys that you brought in from the portal to kind of break out and be a legitimate starter for you.
Absolutely, I thought about Zarian McGill. I thought about picking Cash Cleveland here too.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure,
you need at least one or two offensive linemen to break out to get to where you want to go this year.
No doubt about it. I don't mind that at all, bro.
You got one more pick.
I got one more. We got to take after the break.
Let's save it for after the break.
Bet.
Shout out to... I've got a lot of great friends.
You do, bro.
Shout out to all my friends. I don't know if I have any friends as good as the great people over at Live Well, though. They're my homies. They literally keep me living well with all their great selection, great staff, too. always willing to answer your questions and help find exactly what you need, whether it's flour, concentrates, edibles, and much, much more. They've got you covered. Make sure you mention the code DNVR25 in store, and you'll receive 25% off one of their products today. Some restrictions apply. Also, make sure you hit them up, livewell.com, scan the entire menu, put in a mobile order, super quick and easy. Walk into the store, show your ID, mention that code DNVR25, get 25% off, and you're on your way. Live Well's the homies. Reef knows.
Yep.
Live well for life.
Live well for L. And shout out to the homies. Actually, Valentine's Day's just 2 days away. And I honestly, quite literally can't think of a better Valentine's gift for your significant other than a good old ice shaker.
Let them know.
Order your team branded bottles today at iceshaker.com and use the code ALLCITY25 for 25% off your order. We're even giving you a 25% off of your potentially best Valentine's Day gift. The Eagles just won the Super Bowl. Maybe you want to get your shorty Eagles branded ice shaker.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? The Nuggets are obviously killing it right now, still on a win streak. Maybe you want to give your diehard Denver Nuggets girlfriend or boyfriend an ice shaker, a Denver Nuggets branded ice shaker. But iceshaker.com is the place to get that. Show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market. Ice shakers.
Alrighty, Scotty, round us out here, and then we'll kind of do snubs, if you will.
I like that. We should do that.
But yeah, obviously there's and someone had a comment too. I can't remember who, but this kind of shows the quality of the roster at this point, right?
Yes.
Like we're picking breakout candidates, and look at these names, look at these players, and it's not like there's only going to be one of these guys who breaks out. It's going to be multiple guys on this list, multiple guys off this list who break out.
100%. I mean, there are so many ball players that we haven't even mentioned or obviously listed here who would fit this bill. But again, we only get 10 guys here, at least on this list here. So we'll get into some snubs, if you will. But to round out this top 10 here in round 5, I'm going to go with, by the way, my team is kind of cooking yours right now. I'm not going to lie. I like mine a lot better. But I'm going to round mine out with Arden Walker, man. I think Arden Walker is going to be a dog this year. And he pretty much was in 2024. Let me pull up his stats. I think he was maybe second or third on the team in sacks. I want to say he maybe got 4 or 5. And it seemed like, again, the second half of the year, the latter half of the year, he got really confident in his abilities. He turned into a real problem off that edge. Yes, 4.5 sacks last year for Arden, second on the team, only behind BJ Green. And I can see Arden having a BJ Green type season here in 2025. He's just become so polished as a pass rusher. He's become so disruptive. And his play in the run game also is being slept on too. He was really good in the run game here. And a lot of people just like to look at the sack stat when you're talking about a pass rusher or edge defender, but he obviously had the sack stats, but he was really good in the run game as well. So I think Arden Walker is in for a huge 2025, and he might end up being the Buffs' best, kind of front 7 player this year. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I was between him and Tajay McCoy. I went with Tajay. But Arden, I mean, I think it's a matter of time with him before he puts it all together, because the last 2 years we've seen the flashes. And I'm pretty sure it was the PFF guys, what you were just talking about, who would bring up, his run defense grade when they were talking about Colorado's defense, saying, this guy is playing the run probably better than almost anyone on the team. And that is an underrated aspect for an edge rusher. I think that's something that made Von Miller so good when he was in Denver. I mean, he had the numbers and the sacks, but man, he was a terror in the run game. What are you laughing at?
They chat talk about my shorty Roxy. I don't know why. I don't know why my girl named me y'all mouth. Y'all gotta chill for real. Don't worry about what I got my shorty for
Valentine's Day. That's why.
Dress multiple. Hey, y'all see Roxy outside with an abnormal amount of pockets on. Just know why. For sure.
Some snubs, if you will. Guys who didn't make the cut.
Let me go first since we still going
sure.
snake
Go.
I thought about putting him here. Caden Salter, right? He's got to be a breakout candidate.
For sure.
And obviously he's balled out obviously at Liberty the last couple of years, but it would be different to do it on the national stage of Colorado, being on national TV every damn year. And I think he has it in him, but mostly because he's going to be surrounded by some elite talent at that receiver spot. I think he's going to have a real weapon at tight end in Zach Atkins. I think he's going to have a much better running game, a much better offensive line than obviously Shedeur probably was working with the last 2 years. So I think Caden Salter is definitely a breakout candidate who could end up, if things all go the way they could, a potential Heisman candidate because of his dual threat ability. So I think Caden is going to be one of the most explosive quarterbacks in all of college football this year.
I mean, him or Julian, bro. I mean, if one of the quarterbacks breaks out, truly, that is the path to a successful season at Colorado. A few guys that I didn't mention. Isaiah Gustave. Again, we saw what he was able to do, and he had some good games. It obviously wasn't all his fault why he struggled to get it going last year. But you saw the potential there. He's got the size. He was catching the football out of the backfield. He even had, I think, the longest run of the season, right? The last game against Oklahoma State. It was like a 30-yard run.
Yep, 37.
So he's got the big playability. And was it Dukes who compared him to Dylan Edwards-esque because of his speed?
Sure did.
He's someone, and this one's for you, chat. I'll throw out Brandon Hood, one of the fastest players on the team. We haven't seen him really yet out of the running back room. He hasn't been a factor yet.
Yeah.
A true breakout from him would give this backfield an entirely different dimension that we just haven't seen since Dylan was here.
100%. I'm going to throw a specialist. How about Buck Buchanan? How about some touch bucks?
I thought about him too. I mean,
just the field position game being changed with Colorado being able to get touchbacks would be huge, particularly for this defense, obviously, that we already expect to be pretty good. And especially if he can add something too in the long field goal game, the 50-plus yard range game, that would be huge for this team as well. So I can see Buck Buchanan potentially being one of the most important players, on this team in 2025.
Essence Services is a good one too. Quincy Wiggins.
Yeah.
This time last year, I was super high on Quincy Wiggins. Just looking at the pedigree, #1 player in Louisiana, was like a top 75 recruit. Just kind of got buried on that LSU depth chart. He comes to Colorado. The size stands out. Whenever you see Quincy Wiggins in a video or on campus, I mean, he is one of the biggest players on the team.
100%.
If he can just put it together and he can enter that edge rotation, and now you have another monster to deal with on the edge.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is one of the deepest edge rooms in college football if that happens.
Speaking of the edge room, here's another name that I feel like we haven't talked about much recently. I haven't seen it mentioned in the chat here yet today. How about Keaton Wade? Somebody who we were very high on at certain points of the season, really flashed at a couple of different points. And obviously it was a big talking point about whether they would kind of preserve his eligibility. The coaching staff decided not to, which means that he's on the clock. This is 2025 is a big year for Keaton Wade. And I think with additional opportunities, he's going to prove that he belongs on the field, that he's a disruptive pass rusher, and he can be used in different ways. Like Robert Livingston kind of played with his role a little bit here in 2024. He played some at inside linebacker, off the ball, and obviously on the edge as well. So I think Keaton Wade is another breakout candidate for sure.
We're going to move on here. Just a few more guys. I've seen the chat mention Isaiah Harge. That's another big one for sure. On the edge room, Brandon Davis-Swain, another four-star freshman that we didn't see much from last year, who could potentially factor in. Jay West is a good one too, chat. Chat is cooking here.
JB as well, man.
JB for sure.
He's been balling. He's been working hard, looking good as well.
Again, just speaks to the quality of the roster, I think, and the potential of the roster that I don't know if many people are seeing yet outside of us, Buff Nation.
Right.
People who actually follow this team. Like, there's a lot of talent here. A lot to work with. All right, a little bit on recruiting. The 2026 recruit to watch out for. And I'm pretty sure we've talked about this guy at times on the show. If you follow Corey Phillips, the director of player personnel on Instagram, you probably saw him mention him recently as well. CJ Sadler, the athlete from Detroit, Michigan, goes to Cass Technical High School. 84th overall player, 5th overall athlete in the 2026 class. So Tom Loy of 247 Sports did a article kind of breaking down. They had the Nike's Next One camp, I think, over the weekend. Just a bunch of these 2026 guys going out there and working. First guy in his article is CJ Sadler. First thing he says, ahead of the workout, Detroit Cass Tech athlete CJ Sadler told 247 Sports he's being recruited to play a role similar to Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter. He has the athlete tag. He's obviously not, restricted to one position right now. He's been primarily working at wide receiver, though, especially at this Nike football camp. But he's expected to take a Colorado visit at some point this summer, it sounds like. And is just Colorado's two-way U.
Yes.
They're going to attract one of these guys from the recruiting ranks eventually. Seems like he's one of the next targets, so.
For sure, man. And we can't underestimate the impact that Travis Hunter had on the next generation of athletes. He proved that it's possible to do what he just did in terms of playing damn near every snap of every game. And now everybody isn't going to be able to do what Travis Hunter did, but he most definitely energized, I believe, a whole, like I said, next generation of guys who think that I think I can do that too, or I at least want to be given an opportunity to see if I can do that. And Colorado, like you said, is the one place for these two-way athletes to potentially prove that they can do it. And there's no bigger stage in Colorado. There's no better coach to do that under than Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. So CJ Sadler would be a hell of an ad, whether that be for either side of the ball, his two-way ability that you mentioned. But we'll see what happens down the line with his recruiting because everybody wants that young man.
Yep. Speaking of Travis, we touched on this during the Super Bowl. PFF was doing their top 101 players from the 2024 college football season. Shedeur somehow came in at 20, but as we all expected, Travis Hunter, number one. No surprises.
Uno.
Shedeur Sanders, another historic stat. We actually we almost got there yesterday when it came to this, talking about his completion percentage. But PFF again. He finished the last 2 years at Colorado with a 1.3% turnover-worthy play rate. It's one of those analytics from PFF. It's beyond, turnover-worthy throws. I think this factors in fumbles too.
Yep.
And when you think about Shedeur Sanders, he never really put the ball on. For someone who got sacked and hit as much as he did,
and threw the ball as much as he did, like the opportunities for an edge rusher to come around and just swat the ball out of his hand, like you never saw that happen. Shedeur takes care of the ball at a crazy rate. He actually broke the record previously held by Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year, Heisman Trophy winner, for lowest turnover-worthy play rate in a career. It's such a valuable trait, bro. Taking care of the football, that's priority number one for quarterbacks, particularly in the NFL. You have to hold on to the football. You cannot give the opponents extra possessions, extra opportunities to score. And, that's, to me, playing quarterback in the NFL, that's just as important, taking care of the football, that is. That's just as important as how explosive you are as a runner or as a thrower, how accurate you are. Like, that gets people's jobs taken away. That gets people fired when you can't take care of the football.
Yep.
So that's never been an issue for Shedeur. Again, even when he's been pressured and sacked as much as he's been over the last 2 years, that has really never been an issue for him. And that's not going to be an issue for him in the NFL. And especially when you look at some other quarterbacks, particularly in this draft, that has been an issue for them in the past, taking care of the football, being reckless with the football. That's not something that you're going to have to coach out of Shedeur Sanders. And again, it just speaks to the player that he is, the way he's been coached the last few years. And it's the reason why I think he's the top quarterback in this draft.
For sure, man. When you have someone who's as well-rounded and as good as Shedeur, I think people take a lot of that for granted,
Yeah.
You watch other college football teams and there's just not that level of efficiency of taking care of the ball while balancing big plays, keeping the offense on schedule, all while doing it with one of the worst offensive lines in college football. So,
I mean, that's just so rare to be as prolific and productive as he has been over the last few years and just not turn the ball over and have such a low turnover worthy rate. You know what I'm saying? So NFL GMs, coaches, they notice that. And it's part of the reason why he's going to be taken near the top of the draft.
Some more takeaways from the Shrine Bowl a couple weeks ago. Eric Galko, who is basically the guy out there. He's the director of football ops and player personnel for the Shrine Bowl. He basically runs the whole damn thing, kind of invites the players, all that stuff. He had some analytics on Shiloh. Shiloh had the highest max acceleration of any defender at the Shrine Bowl, hitting 6.39 yards per second squared. This is from Zebra Sports. They're like an analytics company. I think they're the ones who put the chips in the shoulder pads, who track all that stuff. They kind of work with next-gen stats, I think, as well. And it makes sense. I mean, Shiloh, when you talk about Shiloh, he's one of the hardest hitters, if not the hardest hitter in the draft.
Oh, yeah.
That's just physics. That's energy, right?
Yeah.
It's mass times acceleration. And when you have that acceleration going, man, you're going to lay the wood.
You sound smart.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Another one. On the other side of the ball, wide receiver LeJohntay Wester had the highest max acceleration on offense at the Shrine Bowl, hitting 6.2 yards per second squared. Again, it's the short area quickness of LeJohntay that really is his calling card. But, I mean, fastest or at least highest acceleration players on both sides of the ball at the Shrine Bowl were Colorado players.
LeJohntay is going to be a dog, bro. That boy is unguardable. I can't wait to see where he lands in the NFL, and I can't wait to see him. You said
Broncos.
What? I can't wait to see him doing NFL defensive backs dirty. He's such a fun watch, and I can't wait till the whole world really starts to realize who LeJohntay Wester is. And shout out to Shiloh, man. He's being overlooked, I feel like, and one NFL team is gonna fall in love with what he's capable of doing. Again, whether that be special teams, whether that be, in somebody's secondary. I think Shiloh has, the intangibles and what it takes to make some impact on the NFL roster for sure.
Brittany said she made it to live. Is that the Brittany we met at the tailgate? Remember her? Kansas? Am I thinking of the right name?
You said in Kansas?
Mm-hmm.
Potentially.
I can't remember. Either way, welcome to the live, Brittany. Last thing before we get to questions, get your questions in now, by the way. Also, hit the like button.
Smack that like button.
I know it's the off season, guys, but we can do 200 likes, I think, on a Wednesday show in February.
I think so too.
I think we could do that. Last thing, the no fun police are back, and they're in the SEC. The SEC AD is saying that home teams must forfeit wins if fans storm the field/court. I've got a few quotes from this. This is crazy.
Wow.
He told ESPN, "I truly believe in forfeiting wins. If we said that the home team, if they storm the field or the court, they're going to lose the game right then and there, that will stop it."
That would. He's right about that.
He's not lying. He goes on, though. "Our players deserve to be respected, both the home and the visiting teams. They deserve to be allowed to congratulate each other, say hello to friends, and exit. That's the basis, and do that uninterrupted and without being insulted directly in their face or being approached by people whose motives they don't know or understand as part of this post-game field rushing or court storming." Took a shot at ESPN here, I think, too. "I've had conversations with folks at ESPN. It would be helpful if our media partners didn't glorify the moment repeatedly. We've had candid conversations about that. That certainly hasn't stopped our media partners from showing those moments." Thoughts?
My thoughts are, I get where he's coming from.
I kind of do too.
I get those field stormings in particular, they're not safe.
But
they're not safe.
They aren't.
But
this is literally what makes college sports. It's what makes them great, are those type of moments.
Yes and no. I don't think Vanderbilt beating Alabama this year is made any less cool if they can storm the field after.
It's just the chaos of it all, though.
Yeah,
because
it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I understand somebody in the position of power saying this is not safe for our players, for somebody who's 8 beers deep, to be on the field right next to my star quarterback who just lost the game, and you know what I'm saying. A lot of bad can happen, and bad stuff has happened, particularly on the basketball court too. I feel like there have been players injured because of fans storming the court and being able to do whatever. You just can't police that.
Here's
you know
the thing.
So
here's the thing, though. If you're in that moment and you know you're about to lose in an upset and you see the fans crowding the sidelines, just get the hell out of there, though.
Easier said than done.
Sure.
I'm not against taking it away, or really, I don't really feel strongly either way against it, but I do get the safety aspect of it. It could be troublesome.
It can be.
And we'd hate for a star player to get injured in a situation like that. We would all hate that.
But to forfeit games?
That's the only way to stop it.
How are you going to put that on? Okay.
That's the only way to enforce it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, you put it directly on the fans there, but you're going to penalize players, coaches, people who the wins and losses determine their paychecks, whether they get fired or hired.
I get it.
You're going to base that off what the fans do?
I get it. It's dire circumstances.
Here's the solution. If you don't
What's
want
the
field
solution?
storming, build up the walls, put some gates in, keep them out. Then, like if you have these sidelines that are just like super low, like I mean, you're gonna make it happen. Go to the NFL stadiums. You see how high those walls are.
It's true.
Either way, though, this is what makes college sports great, in my opinion, because it sums up like the entirety of what just happened. Like Alabama Vanderbilt is chaos on the field. Diego Pavia is running around, making crazy. It's chaotic. What better way to cap it off than a chaotic field rushing where it's literally a historic moment for the university in that time.
No, it is for sure. And I get it, bro. I personally love a good court field storming. But I would understand the argument for doing away with it because, again, we would hate to see somebody get injured because of that. We would hate that. Sure. But there has to be some type of other, solution than forfeiting a W.
Get off the field. That's what I have to say. You lost. Get out of here.
Or what you say? You said build that wall, huh?
No, I did not say that.
Hey,
I did not say that.
You said
I did not say that. Do not put that on me.
That's what I heard.
I'm just saying, like Georgia's got hedges.
Yeah.
Grow some hedges. Pull some field, push back the sidelines, but give the team some space.
Yeah.
And also make it, more difficult to get on the field in that regard.
I hear you.
And court storming, I guess, that's just kind of, there's not really much you can do in that regard.
Yeah. Because didn't Caden Clark get messed up by something like that? Or I think Hunter Dickinson too, maybe. And
flopping on a court storm is crazy. I'm just going to say that.
Was that Kalen or was that Dickinson? Okay, yeah. I
might have been both.
It might have been both. I do remember something that people were upset about that they flopped into. Yeah, but hey. We'll see what happens. I'm dead.
Let's go to the chat. What's up, Kamada? Fellas, when do you think DNVR podcast became known nationally? What year? What day? Our podcast, specifically, the day that Coach Prime was hired. That's when. December 4th or 5th, 2022. That's the day this podcast went big time.
That's hilarious.
In general, though, I truly don't know. I mean, like I've been listening to the Broncos pod since 2017-ish. Wow. So for me, like I knew them a long time, but nationally, I don't know. Like with the Nuggets, really, when like Jokic started taking off, you know what I mean? Right. Like we had a cup run with the Avs in 22 as well.
True.
But the Avs beat's been doing it, like that. So have the Nuggets and Broncos. So it's tough to say. How many players will be getting gray jerseys this year?
Say at least 2.
Who else would it be? Isaiah, like Cam, Michael, Colton, maybe?
I don't know if the Tyler Brown experiment on both sides of the ball is over with.
That one too, yeah. At least what? 2 then?
I say 2. I say Harge and somebody else gets 1.
2 is safe.
Yeah.
3,
it's possible.
It is possible. I won't rule it out. Reef wants to know what you're getting, Roxy.
Y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see on the gram when she posts it.
Stay tuned. Can't wait to see that.
It kind of got a little ring to it, Scotty and Roxy.
Oh, please.
Don't it? It kind of sounded like Scotty or Roxy. Don't they got a ring to it, y'all? I agree.
Talk it into existence, bro. Kristen asks, agree or disagree, biggest breakout candidate, Coach Prime himself, by allowing the offense to create and stick with a more balanced ball control offense. I'd say it's more Pat Shurmur, honestly. Yep. I think Coach Prime, you saw it at Jackson. They ran the ball, man. Right. He played on teams with Emmitt Smith. I don't think Coach Prime is the one trying to go like full, extra Mike Leach. We're running air raid like crazy. We're going to try run it as less as possible. He brings it up all the time.
And so does Shurmur. I mean, Shurmur has mentioned it multiple times this past season. He was like, listen, I want to run the ball. But if you're getting 2 yards of pop, 3 yards of pop, it's hard to continue running the ball, especially when you have Shedeur under center and Travis out there out wide. So I give Shurmur the benefit of the doubt in that respect, but 2025 has to be different. And I think it will be because of the personnel up front. And I think the guys back there running the football with another year under their belt are going to be ready to give this offense the balance it really needs.
Is that a D? Ijoma or Ijedma?
Yeah, I think, yeah, IJ.
Barbecue says, do we officially know what happened with Jimmy at the Shrine Bowl? It sounds like, I can't remember who reported it, but the Steelers thing had some legs, it sounds like. But
Right.
I don't know. In my opinion, Jimmy did enough in the week during practices that he didn't need a team to tell him. He probably could have just figured himself. Like,
why risk it in the game?
And if you watch the game, you obviously saw what's the point.
Right.
Super chats, DJ Flame to you. $50. Appreciate you, homie. What's
DJ
up, gents?
Flame.
Haha, Chiefs suck. LOL, F the Jayhawks. Do you have any thoughts on that first sentence?
Nope.
From yesterday's show, I actually agree with Scott on number 2 to the Jets. The Lions are a prime example. Same ownership, terrible franchise. They got the right head coach, got the right QB, and now they're winning.
Preach, DJ Flame. Y'all are really making me real passionate about this Shedeur fit conversation.
I'm just saying that there are certain teams that have a black eye because of their owner, and it's proven. Like, I don't think Detroit was in the Dan Snyder Jets like ownership meddling like conversation,
bro. But everybody looked at the Lions how we currently look at the Browns and the Giants and the Jets.
Sure.
And again, all it took was get the coach right, get the quarterback right, draft well, and you can be in a conference championship game. We literally see it year after year, and people just like to ignore that. And I'm of the belief that Shedeur Sanders is the type of guy who can change a franchise around, assuming he has some help in the coaching staff and the personnel direction.
Let me ask you a question. Does Jaden Daniels have the same season if Dan Snyder's still the owner?
And they made all the other moves that they did, including hiring Dan Quinn and whatnot. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't think all those moves happen if Dan Snyder's still the owner.
Well, that's a different discussion then.
But that's the reality of the situation, though. Like, that's how it is with the Jets, in my opinion. We saw it last year. They fired the coach week 4. Who does that? What's the point?
Well,
why are we playing this? Why are we even lining up and playing in the season if you're going to fire the coach by week 4? Honestly.
I don't know, bro. I think that was a Rodgers thing.
And who empowered Aaron Rodgers?
Woody Johnson.
He wasn't the head
Woody
coach.
Johnson, the owner.
Exactly.
No doubt. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I'm of the mindset now. I don't think there's a bad landing spot for Shedeur Sanders. There are ones obviously better than the other ones, no doubt. But I don't think there's a bad one for him. I think he's going to make it do wherever.
Look, man, as great as he is, there's just some things that are out of your control.
People said the same thing about Washington. People said the same thing about Houston.
All right.
People said the same thing about Detroit.
There are it's not one size fits all. Oh, we're signing off on Fast.
Yeah.
If you're watching on Fast, head on over to YouTube. We're going to end the show there shortly. So, yeah, if you're watching on Fast, we'll see you tomorrow. But we're still rolling on. I'm just saying. Like, if Shedeur gets drafted by the Jets and it doesn't work out, it's 100% going to be more on the ownership and the structure of the franchise rather than Shedeur himself.
I mean, that I would agree with.
So then it's not one size like fits all for Shedeur to land on any team.
But you can say that for all the teams though. Like, he goes to Giants. If he doesn't work out for the Giants, it's probably because the coach, the ownership potentially.
Well, maybe.
We weren't Brian Daboll isn't what we thought. That's what I think. I made this list yesterday. In my opinion, the best landing spots for Shedeur 1 through 5. You want to hear it?
Okay, sure.
At 5, I got the Raiders. Okay. I don't like the coach situation with Pete Carroll. I don't think him and Shedeur would vibe well.
And honestly,
but I would add them on the list. I don't think it's terrible because of Brady.
Exactly though. If it was the Raiders without Tom Brady though,
yeah, I would not like it at all.
Why?
I wouldn't like it
because of the structure of the franchise.
Because of the coach.
The coach.
The coach.
It's not the owner.
The head coach. No.
It's not Mr. Bowlcut who's trying to live up to his dad's legacy, who doesn't really know how to run a team.
I don't really see him as an issue.
All right. Who's next?
I got the Jets at 4.
Okay.
I got the Jets at 4.
We talked a lot about that one.
I know. And my boy DJ Flame agrees with me about the Jets. Again, I think Aaron Glenn is going to be a good head coach, and I think him and Shedeur really vibe with each other. They obviously have talent on both sides of the ball. I got the Titans third. I think Callahan would be a good coach for Shedeur. I don't love their weapons, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't really love their weapons. I think they have a good running game, a good offensive line, but in terms of guys to throw the ball to, I think they would have to really add to that either in the draft or in free agency. I got the Browns second. I think Stefanski would be great with Shedeur. I think they got weapons. I think their defense is good. And I got the Giants number 1. I think that's the best spot for Shedeur.
I'm not mad at it. It's just 4 and 5 leave me uneasy. And it's not because of Shedeur.
I know. I get it.
Big Teasy in the house.
You'd rather have him with the Raiders and the Jets?
That's a loaded question right there.
I know.
For my own personal happiness.
Take that out of it, bro.
Okay, strictly for Shedeur,
fit.
Absolutely, I'd rather him go to the Raiders than the Jets then.
Okay.
You think it's the Jets?
I do think it's the Jets slightly.
All right. Big Teasy in the house. I have a bone to pick. We were promised FDB cam and or question cam. We get everything but that. Now that RK and Neely are away, there's no excuse. Neely's going to be back tomorrow, by the way. Neely will be back. FDP cam's on Alyssa, man.
I know. We'll do it.
Okay. She said we're going to do it.
You know, some days I show up with no makeup and just looking
I really
real
don't think
rough
the
and
chat
I don't
would
want
care,
to.
honestly.
Care.
I really don't think they would care.
We'll do it. I'll set it up so we can.
All right. She said it again. We're going to do it. You heard it here.
Well, and I haven't even been producing the shows, really, if we're being honest here. It's been
true.
Dion. So
shout out to Dion.
Shout out
Dion's
Dion.
been rocking it on the 1s and 2s, producing the show lately. So
holding it down, going crazy.
Alyssa's just kind of
an autopilot.
I'm just kind of here, you know. I might not start showing up.
Wow. Tom Carlson says, headed to Dallas tomorrow for my daughter's soccer showcase. Of all your interactions with Prime and his camp, what would they say is the best barbecue spot to hit up in Big D? Oh, man, I wish I could answer that question for you. Well, ask Neely tomorrow if we can get an answer. Of all the times we've been in Dallas and we've spoken to Coach and Shedeur, I can't believe that hasn't been asked.
Yeah.
I don't know if Shedeur's a barbecue guy, in my opinion.
He's a steak guy.
He is. Yep, he is. He doesn't like burgers either. We learned that one. You're going tomorrow. Tom, I wish I had an answer, brother, but I don't have an answer right now, man. Was that the one in Fort Worth? Yeah. I like that one. RK didn't like. She said that was like mid or something. Like, you're crazy, bro. RK's got crazy food takes, by the way. If y'all haven't learned,
I think the chat knows. I'm not gonna lie. I think the chat is fully aware. They still be getting on there with him about that damn cream cheese.
They do. All right. That's all we got. Again, Neely will be back tomorrow. It's the return of the DNVR pregame show. Lots to get to with Neely, man.
Oh, yeah.
We got to ask him about Marshall Falk. We got to ask him about who's replacing D. Lou.
Hell yeah.
What are you laughing at? Oh, my
Eater
God.
extraordinaire is crazy.
That's crazy. Put some respect on my guy's name. We'll be back tomorrow. See y'all then. Go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.